obviously the semi-finals kicked off over the weekend. Sydney versus Melbourne City. It was the first one on Friday night at Sydney Football Stadium. Obviously the boycotts. Do I speak about them? Basically, I just realised that actually happened. Basically, the Cove boycotted the game against Western Sydney, and then they realised that we might actually do something, and they basically decided that they're gonna not boycott anymore. Look. I said, I don't care if you boycott the finals, because that's not what this whole decision was about. It's about boycotting the grand final. But at least stick to your word. Come on, is that too much to ask for? Is that too much to ask for? Just, if you say something, just do it. Anyways, it was 1-1, a game wrought with kind of offside decisions and disallowed goals. I think there was 2 disallowed goals in this game. Matt Leckie, was it a header to near post? I think it was. Yeah. Leckie flick on, goal, first 20 minutes. And then Lafondra with the penalty just after the hour mark makes it 1-1. Going back to Amy, going to be a very interesting game. Because I think this would suit Sydney if it was the other way around. Going to Sydney Football Stadium's second leg. But City should win, right? City should win quite comfortably. However, that backs against the wall, kind of us against them mentality that Corico's obviously trying to cultivate. It's going to be an interesting game. Both games are going to be must-watch TV for very different reasons. Because obviously we'll touch on the other game, but this game will be a far bigger chess match. Because City are obviously going to be on the front foot. They're going to be at home. Going to be on the front foot, looking to kind of suffocate Sydney early with kind of heavy possession, heavy high-tempo football. But Sydney have shown to be defensively solid at times this season. If they can take it to extra time, and then it's just a game of who can take their chances. When you're looking at players for Sydney, if you're looking at players for Sydney who are capable of taking chances, Mack is obviously been a fantastic player this season for them. Robert Mack, the Slovak, as Simon Hill insists on calling him. He's obviously been very capable of taking moments for them this season. Lafondra as well, very good big game player out of Lafondra. Coming off the bench, Joel Lowley, if he's fit, he's had a fantastic season. So they've got a couple of players who can take their moments. On the other side of things, City, we all know Jamie McLaren's record in finals isn't great. It's not bad. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, but it's not like you don't think big game player when you think of Jamie McLaren. You think, in fairness, you do think elite A-League goal scorer. You don't think big game player, right? So it'll be interesting to see whether or not he can show up. He did, of course, score in the semi-final last year against Adelaide in the second leg at Amy. So there you go. Leckie, obviously, if you want big moments, Leckie's probably had the biggest moments out of anyone on that pitch, maybe barring Joe Rodwell or Lafondra. But, so that's obviously going to be interesting to see. City should win comfortably. It should be 2-0 minimum. It wouldn't surprise me if Sydney get the job done, though, which is scary. Because boycott the grand final. There's some ASMR for your Tuesday night or Wednesday morning or Wednesday Arvo, whenever anyone listens to this. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move to the next game. Adelaide versus Central Coast. This was very interesting game because, of course, it was obviously 2-1. Goodwin scored nice and early, but McGarry and Cumdog with 2 goals in relative quick succession in the first half gave Mariners a 2-1 lead heading into half time, and they saw out the game. Having a 2-1 lead. Yeah, okay. So, very interesting. This one's going to be a lot more high-tempo, free-flowing football. So, obviously, we all know Central Coast beat Adelaide 4-1 quite convincingly away from home in the last game of the season to actually bump Adelaide out of the top 2 places. I kind of was looking at this game thinking, what's the mentality going to be from either team? Adelaide, obviously, will have a chip on their shoulder. I think they lost. I think they played Central Coast away and lost quite convincingly as well. They lost 4-0. So Adelaide are 0-3 this season with games against Central Coast. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Adelaide respond from this second leg, because I think Adelaide have been the second best team in the league this season, barring obviously City. But Central Coast have been kind of just ticking along, ticking along, understated, doing the job. And when you've got the attacking talent of Tulio, of Cummings, Silvera as well, off that kind of right flank type area, left flank as well at times, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting game. This is going to be so fascinating to watch. My mind goes Central Coast should win once again at home, 2-1 lead. It will take a lot for them not to. It will take a lot for them not to win. However, I also think Adelaide will go to Central Coast with a chip on their shoulder, looking to prove a lot of people wrong and looking to avenge those 3 losses in a row. And also, from a mental thing, in terms of 3 losses against Central Coast in a row, from a mental thing, can Central Coast beat Adelaide 4 times in a season? To me, when 2 teams are so evenly matched, you can't beat a team 4 times in a season. I'm gonna say Adelaide win, and by win, I think Adelaide are gonna go through. Realistically, it should be, if football was played via an algorithm and via facts, it should be Central Coast 2-0, 2-1 maybe, and they should go through in an aggregate relatively comfortably. However, I'm gonna go Adelaide 2-0. And they're going to overcome that deficit and win 3-2 on aggregate. And I feel like it's going to be that boy. It's going to be the boy. We all know the boy I'm speaking about. Not Craig Goodwin, the other boy. They're much younger. I'm going to stop right there. Irakunda will score at least once off the bench to send Adelaide through to the grand final, in my opinion. So yeah, that's all.